Well, friends, I wanted you to see me go through all that, just to see the effort I'm putting into it. Not to make you feel guilty, but so that you remember when you're away, like, oh, he makes the videos. He goes through all these steps. Normally, I'll have that all done before I get here. You don't have to copy this down. This is just like an intro to my lesson. Tells you what we're going to see today. Sometimes the learning goals don't help you that much because you're like, okay, I don't know what that means. But this is how you'll know it's been a good lesson. We will review some math skills covered in previous grades, which will be needed this year. And how will I know I've been successful? I am successful if I do the questions in the right order. I do them in the first things first and the second things second. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay, we open with a mostly true story. So at the top of your page, you should write a mostly true, I promise I'm keeping it short. It'll be the shortest story ever. A mostly true story. And then over on the other side, I want you to write September 4th. You can write that as much as you want. Like you can write it with the year, or you can write it with slashes, whatever you like. But let's get the date on these things so we know where they are if your notes fall apart on you, you know? Okay. A mostly true story. I'll tell you the story first and then I'll write it down. And when I say mostly true, I've only changed the numbers a little bit to make them more friendly. What happens in the story is true, happened to me. Years and years ago, I worked at the stereo store in town, FM Audio Video. Have you ever seen it? It's like a Best Buy. You know, a little bit nicer in there than I think a Best Buy is, but it's over by where Pizza Hut used to be. And I worked there for a couple of years before I went back to university. The way they pay you there, at least at that time, was you got a salary per week. That is, if I sold no stereos, I still got a certain amount of money. But then I got extra money for every stereo I sold. It's called commission. Have you ever heard of this before? It's why people are so intense when you walk into a store. You know, you walk into a store and people start harassing you. Like, well, can I help you today? Because some of them are on commission. They make money if you buy stuff off them. When I bought these shoes last week, I'm pretty sure the guy was on commission because he offered to carry them up to the till for me. He wanted credit for it, and he deserves credit for it. He helped me out with my shoes. He gets paid a little bit extra money. Not all jobs are like this, but lots of sales jobs are. Cars certainly are. When you go look at cars, car salesmen are on you, like they are talking to you. Anyways, it was my job to sell stereos and try to be good at selling stereos. So, the mostly true story is, Bob, I don't ever go by Bob, but I'll be Bob in my examples. Bob sells stereos. He makes $125. That's true. That's how much I used to make per week when I worked at FM Audio Video. My salary is $125. He makes $125 per week. Plus $30 per stereo. And when I say mostly true story, it wasn't exactly $30. It depended on the stereo. It depended on the price. There was lots of stuff going on. But mostly true. This is close to what was happening. Here's the question. How much will Bob make if he sells 6 stereos next week? I kept that as short as I could. And we'll keep the answer as short as we can. And maybe you know exactly what to do. Maybe you don't. It's not supposed to be a particularly tough question. It's supposed to teach you about Bedmas, actually, is what it's supposed to do. Something's going to happen here. Take a moment, think it over for yourself, what you would do. You can even write down something if you think you already know what to do. But then I'd love someone to share and tell me what they would do. You don't need your calculator yet. I'm going to be your calculator. Don't tell me what the answer is. What would you do to figure out how much money Bob makes? 30 times 6. Anything else you would do? Plus the extra 125. He gets that 125 anyways. And I don't want the answer yet. I'm going to do the answer. I'm going to be your calculator today. Okay? But notice she selected from the information to multiply first. And if you've never seen an example like this, you might be like, oh, that's why there's Bedmas. Multiplication usually goes first. If you got something to multiply and something to add, most real life situations, you multiply first and then you add. Mathematicians noticed this a long time ago. Well before I was born, well before you were born, a long time ago, somebody went, did you notice that it's usually multiply then add that you want to do? We better make a rule so everybody knows and everybody does it the same way. Do multiplication, then do addition. Yes, because it's the sensible way to do it. Is it always like that? No, and we'll have to deal with that. Maybe there's a situation where, oh no, we have to add first, then multiply. Then we'll need some brackets to handle that, and that's where the brackets come from. So the brackets aren't there to complicate your life. They're there to go, oh, wait a minute, we got to change the rules for this question, okay? What is 6 times 30? $180. That's not the worst mental math ever. And if math was going too fast the last few years, and you're like, I never would have got that, then we ask the question. He's not carrying a calculator, friends. He did that in his head. We need to know what went on in his head there to give us a chance. What did you do?
It's kind of like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18.
Yeah, he didn't worry about the zero. He just went, I'll do 3 times 6. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Oh, not 18, 180. Those are tens I'm talking about. And lots of times in math, all that's happened is somebody has a different way of thinking about it. Are they smarter? Maybe he's smarter. Is he faster? Well, maybe he is faster. But he knew something. He knew he didn't really have to do 6 times 30. 6 times 3 would cover it. Plus 125. Well, here we go again. Yes, 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 we're going to use calculators. Of course we are. You're going to have your calculator all the time. But just for fun, really, for fun, can we look at this 180 plus 125 and at least get a semblance of what's going on here? Favor. What's that? 206? Okay, let's talk about what she did there. She came up with 200. I agree with the 200. There's 200. But then I got 80 and 25, and that changes the game a little bit. Okay? What did you come up with? 315. Okay, I'm writing these down. 206. 315. I like this 315 answer. How did you get to 300? Where did 300 come from? Ah, she put the 5 aside. She said, okay, don't worry about the 5 for a second. That's easy to add at the end. It's actually easier to do the big numbers first. And so she sort of went 180 and 120. And what's 180 and 120? Yeah. So you got 100 there. Yeah. Oh, that's the little thing that's gone wrong for you there. You said 110, but 80 and 20 is just 100. With the other hundreds, so I got 100, 200, another 100 is 300, and then you're 5 at the end. Now we're seeing a bunch of stuff going on there, and this is the reason we use calculators, is because we don't want to have these little mistakes happen to us. But if you want your brain to expand and to do more work, then you should challenge yourself to go, ooh, can I do it? Because I know you probably hear parents and teachers talk about all the time, should the kids just use calculators? The answer is no. But we need right answers. Okay? So I think if you really want your brain to work, do both. In your head, go, I think it's around 315, something like that. And then you type in and go, 305. Oh, how did that happen? That's when the really learning happens. Yes? Reminds me of working out, right? you're doing a lot of push-ups, that's how you build muscle. You gotta put some pressure on the muscle. You gotta put some pressure on your brain. We have a saying in period 1 already. If your brain doesn't hurt at the end of math class, you probably weren't paying attention. Your brain should hurt a little bit. You'd be like, oh, what happened there? Yeah? It's like a good workout. Yeah? We'll get to calculators in a minute. It's not about calculators. If all through that, the only thing you took out of the whole story was that there's a reason why we multiply first. It's because it's usually what happens. That's enough. That's what I'm trying to accomplish in this part of this mostly true story at the start. But do you have any questions about that? I must tell you, I was pretty happy with that stereo job. I usually made about $450 a week. That was a long time ago. Not too many people would be happy with $400 or $450 a week. Like, what's minimum wage now? Does anyone know what minimum wage is now? Anybody have a job?
I don't know. I get paid lower than minimum wage. My dad pays by the motivation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dads don't have to pay minimum wage. $13. So if you worked 40 hours, it's about $520. Most people would want 500, but a long time ago, like money gets worth more all the time. So a long time ago, I was happy with 400 every week there. All right. Order of operations. There's your big title underneath. Order of operations, underline it. You don't need a ruler to underline it necessarily, but give it a nice underlining. This is what you'll look back at when you're trying to do the homework or you're trying to make your study page for the test. This is what you'll look back at. How have I done? Have I done a good job of slowing this down? I mean to slow math down a little bit. All semester. Like, let's just take a second and talk about this. I'm going to try and build people's confidence back up. We're like, okay, we can do this. So what happened was math people got together and they said, we better have an order. We better be able to tell everybody what order to do these things in. Does anyone know the fancy acronym that tells you exactly what order to do everything in? Bedmas. So you can write down your page in big capitals, B-E-D-M-A-S. And if you're looking at me going, well, I remember that. I remember the word. It's when you put all the stupid numbers on the page that I get messed up. I'm like, I know. That's where I'll make my money today. That's where I'll do my best teaching is when I actually go to talk about this. But I'm telling you, if you write down Bedmas like that, and then you put that sheet away and try and do your homework, that's wrong. Keep the sheet out. This tells you. It's the guide every time. What do each of these letters mean? You don't have to do them in order. Does someone want to tell me what any of these letters mean? Oh, she's going for it. She's saying them all. Brackets. What was the next one? Exponents. Division. Multiplication. Addition. Oops. So one problem with this board, I can't write quite as fast as I could with my old one, or it gets all messy. And subtraction. And again, if you were like, yeah, I know that, I remember the names, that's not my problem with this. It's getting messed up with what the individual steps are. I know. My best teaching hasn't happened yet today. It's coming right up. Right now, here it is, my first best teaching of the day. Switching to color red. You can switch to color red if you want. You don't have to. Yeah, I only do it so you can see. I'm going to add a couple things. Like, don't add things. Nothing. I'm adding a little help here. I'm going to put a little set of brackets around A and S. Addition and subtraction. Actually, addition is not before subtraction. Those two things can be doing whatever order you want. Addition and subtraction are the same level. Division and multiplication. They're the same level as well. Once you get it down to addition and subtraction, you can do them in any order you want. Okay? They just made it this way so it would be a fun word, Bedmas. They could have said Bemdas. Same thing. But the other one doesn't work. Bedmasaha, Bedmas, yeah, see? They just organized the letters so it would be nice. So those things are the same. So it's more like brackets, exponents, division and multiplication, addition and subtraction. It's really, there's only 4 steps really. One more little thing I'm going to add that messes people up. Brackets. I just want you to write out front, sort of on an angle, just like me, inside. Only if there's something to do inside the brackets. Just because there's brackets there doesn't mean it's first. Only if there's something to do inside of a set of brackets. There's our guide. Yeah? And I think when you get a quiz or a test or a worksheet you're working on, you just write that down besides to remind you what goes first. Okay? Okay, I'm already seeing eyes sort of doing this already. Did you do better? I already had someone stop me from my other grade class in the hallway and say, Mr. Ty, I didn't make it. I had a nap yesterday. I'm like, okay, well, that's all right. But if you're napping in the afternoon and staying up till 1 o'clock, yes, you're going to get tired by this time of day. Especially right now, your body's fighting with your lunch, and that makes you tired if you don't eat good stuff. All right. Anyways, preview of the rest of the lesson so you know how much energy you need to survive the rest of this lesson. Okay? As promised, I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to do one. I'm going to talk about exponents for a little bit, just to make sure we're clear on what exponents are. Then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 examples. Yeah? That's all. And then I'm done, and I'll give you a sheet to work on. Okay? Next title. Keep going down the page. Write exponents and put an underline on it. Why am I writing exponents underlining on it? Because when you go to do your homework in a few minutes, and you're wondering, how do exponents work again? You don't have to look at the wall. You have to ask a friend. You go back and you look at my note, and it shows you what you should be thinking about for exponents. Okay, I'm going to say something incorrect, and then I need someone to fix it. Okay? Some people like this. They like the opportunity to fix mistakes. Here's my mistake. I see on the first one 2 and a 6. And 2 plus 6 is 8. Is the answer 8? No. I see 2 and a 6, and 2 times 6 is 12. Is the answer 12? No. Exponents are very important for things we're going to do. And it's hard to understand why they're important because we teach you about exponents, but not why they happened. Let's imagine there's a population of rabbits, and the population was doubling every month. That's when we'd use exponents, because you'd have to multiply by 2, and then multiply by 2 again, and multiply by 2 again. So there's stuff coming where we're going to use this. For now, we'll just work on the numbers. So, 2 to the exponent 6, what should you write beside it to get the answer? 2 times 2 times 2. How many times do I do this? 6 times. And again, yes, we're going to use our calculator for this. And we're going to get to calculators in just a few minutes. I don't want to get distracted by calculators. Because sometimes what happens is people, they end up typing in their calculator and they don't know why the answer is what it is. They just have typed in their calculator. And we will do that. But for now, let's make sure we know what's going on here. Whoa, is this, ooh, this is a tough mental math one. I see a couple people breaking out their calculator, and that's fine. Does anyone have a shot at this, though? She's got it, 64. 2 times 2 is 4. Times another 2, now that's 8. Times another 2, now that's 16. Times another 2, now that's 32. Times another 2, that's 64. Is that how you did it? Did you just keep multiplying by 2s? That's one way to do it. I don't want to get distracted. Another way to do it is to go, oh, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. This one, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 8 is 64. So there's other ways to handle it. If that mental math is just not your deal, don't worry. We're going to get the calculators out soon. -3 to the exponent of 4. Okay, this is now me. I hope at the end of that you're like, okay, I remember exponents. Now this is just me going, okay, watch out for these ones. These ones can be a little bit of trouble. -3 to the power of 4 is -3 times -3 times -3 times -3. A whole bunch of -3s. Negatives. Negatives. What happens when you multiply a negative times another negative? Becomes a positive for some weird reason. It's actually sort of weird why that happens, but 2 negatives make a positive when multiplying. So if I multiply these 2 negatives together, that'll be positive. These 2 negatives together, that'll be positive. And I don't know what the answer is, but I do know it's going to be positive. So I'll just put a little positive sign there because there's all these negatives multiplying together, but every time I got 2 of them, I get positive. Okay, here's a tough one. I did it on purpose. I didn't do the calculators on purpose yet, but 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 4 times. Can we get close? I see a couple of you that are getting braver already. Getting braver already. I hope that means you're going, you know what? Maybe I just will trust this dude. Yeah? And even when there's a wrong answer, I'll work with you. Here's what I won't do. Here's some drama of what I won't do. Let's say someone answers a question and they get it wrong. I won't go, huh? What? Huh? I'm not going to make fun of them. I'm going to take their answer and go, oh, how did you do that? Oh, and then I'll try and build on what they said. So you never have to be scared that I'm going to embarrass you. That's not going to happen. What do you got? 18. Because you went 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. And no, what did you do? Tell me.
3 times 3 is
9?
9. 9 plus 9 is 18.
Oh, good. Hang on. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. But now it's 9 times 9. Because these are all multiplication. 81. Good. Now, did you see what I did there? She didn't have it right the first time. And I just took what she did. I've been doing this for a while. And I went, okay, how can we get there? Let's find out what you did right, and then we'll fix it up. So don't be scared to answer. Yeah? Okay, now this is a very interesting one. And if you're angry after this one, so am I. It looks like the same thing. Just without brackets. It's without brackets. So it's not negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. It's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and there's only one negative because it wasn't in the brackets. If that annoys you, me too. What an awful situation. And it's why I brought this up, is because if the negative's not in the brackets, you don't get 4 negatives. You only get the 1 negative, and this one comes out to negative 81. Ugh. This is what makes people hate math, is when stuff like this happens. I have good news. Your calculator knows the difference. Okay? So when you're in these situations, yes, think them out, but then punch them in so you're sure you got the right answer. And we got to talk about calculators in a few minutes. And we're going to talk about calculators. It's almost time to talk about calculators, actually. But you got questions about that? All right. How many after this? I think I lied, didn't I? I said there was 3 examples, but there's 2 on the one page, right? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Be sure. Oh, please, please write this down. At least this much. You don't have to write the whole sentence if your hand's getting tired, but at least show all your work. I don't care if you can type it in your calculator and get the right answer. Not even a little. What I care about is that you can do the math. So I want to see the steps. Every step? No, I'm not going to bust you if you leave one step out. No. But I need to see steps so I can give you a bunch of marks. I'll be dying. I'm telling you, when I'm marking your quizzes, assignments, and tests, I'll be like, how can I give the marks? Where can I get the marks? I'm not trying to bust you. I want to see what you know. But the only way I can know that is if you show me steps. All right. 8 minus 4 divided by 2. Which operation do I do first? 8 minus 4. Because she looks and she goes left to right, that's the first one on there. Now let's go back to Bedmas. Let's take a look what Bedmas says about the whole situation. Bedmas says, look for brackets. We look for brackets. Is there anything inside some brackets? There's no brackets in this one. There's some like that coming. So you have to go through the checklist. Look for brackets. Next, Bedmas says, look for exponents. Is there any exponents in this question? No. Then look for division and multiplication. Those actually are together. Bedmas acts like they're separate things. Is there some division and multiplication I can do? Yes. So if these are trouble to you, then underline that. Go, oh, division first. And there's good reasons for this. And one reason is so we all get the same answer. Yes? So then, what is 4 divided by 2? 2. I don't know you well enough. Let me just throw this out there. We went 4 divided by 2 and we got 2. Maybe that's an easy one. I don't know. But as they get tougher, if I act like, oh, that's easy, and other people act like, oh, that's easy, but you're like, I don't find that easy at all. no problem. You're going to have a calculator in your hand. You can always check it. Yeah? So if you're in that situation out there like, I'm getting scared already. No. We still got to talk about calculators. We're going to talk about calculators, but I don't want them in your hand just yet. I want to be able to talk about it without the calculators. What did we decide? 4 divided by 2 was 2. And then 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay? I have other news. With the right calculator, you can type that whole line in and press equals and get the answer, and then you'll know you got it right. But you got to show the steps for the marks. Yes? Because I don't need people who can just type in their calculator. I need people who can do math. That's what I need. All right, let's try this one. Part B. I won't even charge you for it. It'll be a freebie. A freebie? It's a freebie. Okay, these jokes can't be funny, by the way. Yeah, I'm sort of hemmed in by teaching at school, so I got to keep them pretty clean. I'll make an effort. Favorite, tell me, what do you want to do? She says 6 times 5 is 30. She goes, let's look for the multiplication first. Do you see what she did? She looked for brackets. There was no brackets. She looked for exponents. There was no exponents. So she looked for multiplications, and she did the multiplications first. Multiplications before additions and subtractions. Now we're ready. 30 minus 6. 24. And it's okay if any part of that, you're like, 6 times 5, I can't do 6 times 5 in my head, Mr. Todd. Yeah, I know. That's not the point of the lesson. The point of the lesson is not to just type in your calculator, show me the steps. Maybe you got to go in your calculator, 6 times 5. Maybe that's easy for you. That's all right. Maybe that's hard for you. That's all right too. We're going to have a calculator. That's not what this course is about. It's not about how much can I do in my head. I'd like you to challenge yourself and try though. Okay. Only 2 more to go, right? It's pretty good. Anytime we finish by 1 o'clock, that's a nice short lesson, okay? Were grade 9 lessons a lot longer than that? Yeah. I'm not saying there won't be long lessons in this class, but lots of times we'll have a little more time in this class. We'll take our time with the lesson, then we'll take our time with the stuff. How many more do I got to do? 2 more? Un momento. I should just close that at the start of class. Yeah. You've been very well behaved about the phones. Did you have a meeting today? They're right on about it, eh? Phones? The other one is shoes. So hold on, I'm going to look. I'm not going to try and bust people on shoes. So if you got the wrong shoes on, you're not about to get in trouble. I just want to talk about shoes a little bit because they were right on about it. As I understand it, those are okay because they're brown. And they're Burke type things, right? So that, that style, those style of Burks. Okay, so everybody's really good, I think. I don't know about those. I don't know. They're okay with this, with the white on the side?
Nobody said anything.
Nobody said anything. Okay, I don't know that. I'll find out for you. I'm not trying to bust you. I'm trying to. Hey, the black running shoes are easy, right? Problem solved. Black running shoes, and we're good. You're like, Miss Todd, you're wearing white shoes. That's not allowed. I'm like, well, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a teacher, so I get away with a little more, right? It's more important. I'm comfortable at my age, right? Okay, good stuff. I'm trying to understand because they said open toe, no, it's got to not be. It's gonna not be open toe except for the Burks, and I didn't even know what a Burke was. So. All right. Oh, I do that on purpose, by the way. I don't get distracted by accident. I get distracted halfway through the lesson on purpose to let your brain go. And then we try again to finish it off, okay? Oh. Well, A and B might not be the ones you got to worry about. This is the type of question you got to worry about, yeah? 5 times 3 minus 2 times 6. 2 minus 2 plus 6 times 4 divided by 5 minus 3. Looks like one of those skill testing questions from contests, you know? Don't let your brain get overwhelmed by this. Stop and look at your list. Bedmas is the list. That's the reason for that fancy word. What do I look for first? brackets. Is there work I can do? Okay, hang on. I added something inside of some brackets. Is there some I can do inside of brackets? Yes. Just do that. Don't try and do too much in one step. So all this other stuff, you just work in your pencil, write that all out, don't do anything, and just do what's inside the brackets. What's 5 minus 3? 2. Very good. Then I start over. I go to my list. Brackets? No brackets. Exponents? No exponents. Division and multiplication. Is there division and multiplication? Yes. We go left to right. Division and multiplication, it's a tie. So we go into overtime. We now go, if it's all division and multiplication, do division and multiplication, but do the one on the left first, and then work your way left to right, as you would think it would normally go. So 5 times 3, ooh, who can do 5 times 3 in their head? 15. Minus 2, I don't do that. I'm not doing subtraction and addition right now. Oh, plus 6 times 4, I do this multiplication. 6 times 4, ooh, 24. That's one of the tougher ones. Yeah? And sometimes you don't get all the division and multiplication done in one step. You gotta go, okay, I'll do one of them, and then I'll do the next one. Here's the division over here. 15 minus 2, and then 24 divided by 2. 12. Please no panicking again. I'll just mention it one more time. I can't do 24 divided by 2 in my head. Well, maybe you can't. That's why we're going to get calculators in your hands. Hello, Mrs. Todd. We were talking about you. How I got to put all my stuff on the back desk because of you.
That's not true.
Mrs. Todd teaches math and chemistry here. We've been married for, how long have we been married?
Pardon?
How long have we been married?
You don't know?
14 years.
They're at 13. I know. I was checking if she knew.
Do you have an extra sweater still? School sweater? Sorry to interrupt. It's an emergency.
No, I gave it away.
Okay.
But I know how to get one.
I sent her friends to student services. Okay.
Oh, okay. Did you hear what I just said there? She knows. She knows I'm here to help. Yeah? So sweaters, missing shorts, ties. I know people. Okay? So if you're missing stuff, you let me know. Yes?
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for asking. Okay, now, is there any more brackets? No. Exponents? No. Division? No. Multiplication? No. Now we're on to addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction is a tie. So I go left to right. 15 minus 2. 13. And then on the last step, 13 plus 12. Favor? 25. Good stuff. Okay? Incidentally, I was talking, at one point I stopped the lesson for people who were like, it's going too fast for me. No problem. We're working on it. It's going too slow for you. Don't worry. We're going to get to some math. We just have to get Bedmas down. I'm trying to build some habits. Let's have a good first day. Let's do something basic, get it done, and then we'll move on to other stuff.
Should we try the next one on our own first?
She wants to try the next one on her own first. I love this idea. I love the idea at the last example. We'll go, ooh, let me see if I can try one. If you're too intimidated, don't do it. We'll do it together in just a minute. But take a couple minutes and try D, the very last one. It's got a problem in it, I got to tell you. My hint is do the top first. Get the top all done first. Sorry, what did you need? Paper? Okay, yeah. Paper, pencils, Kleenex, you never have to ask me for. You just walk right up and take it like you own the place. Where's my Kleenex? Oh! It's missing. Oh, no, there it is. Take all the time you need, because this is the last example that we're going to do together. Oh, there's only one Kleenex left. New box. Between classes, I'll run and get a new box. What am I going to do? I'll do attendance while you're doing that. I'm not rushing you. I just don't want to bore you. Do you want more time to keep trying this? Who needs more time? Take more time. I never rush you. Yes, it may be a decimal, and we'll just talk about it. Should we leave it as decimal, or should we use fractions? What should we do? I don't have an answer. I'm just saying we should talk about it. What do we do?
If it's remainder number, do you put it as a decimal?
I don't know. I mean, I do know, but the answer isn't simple. So we're just going to argue about it. We'll argue about fraction, decimal. What should we do? What do we do? Do you need more time? Okay. What's first? Yeah, the exponents. So this is annoying. It's okay that this is annoying. I'm telling you it's annoying. You just got to write everything else out. You don't do anything with this. You write 10 minus 2 times 8. All that stuff is just rewriting it out. Divided by 2 to the exponent 3. What is 2 to the exponent 3? 9. Tell me how you got 9. Oh, 3 times 3. Good. So let me just write down what you did. You did 3 to the exponent 2. So the base tells you, she's already got it. Yeah, the base tells you what you're multiplying, and the exponent tells you how many times you're multiplying. So now try it again. 2 to the power 3, what would I write? Not the answer, but what would I be multiplying? Oh, she's jumping out of me. 8. And this is why the calculator is so important, right? Little mistakes like that, you can check them as you go. Okay, so now this is 8. Okay, exponent's done. Now, what's next? What's that? 2 times 8. Yes? Hold on. You're right. You're right. Don't let me throw you off. Okay? You're right. Why don't you do this division first? Left to right. Yeah, she's so right. Division and multiplication, it's a tie, so then you go left to right. This one's a little tricky because it's got that fraction thing in there. My hint was there's a sort of implied do the numerator first and then divide at the very end. I know it says division in there, but there's like an understood. If it's bothering you, it should bother you. That's why I did this example. There's a little thing going on here. So I'll do some at the end to prove myself right, okay? So 2 times 8. Well, what's 2 times 8? 16, good. And if you're bothered by what I did, or if you did the steps in a different order, that's why we're doing it together. Because I got something to say at the end that's extra news, extra teaching that's got to happen here. What's next? 16 divided by 8. And what's 16 divided by 8? 2. That was interesting, wasn't it? Oops, I wrote that wrong. Hang on. Wasn't that interesting? Did you notice what happened there? I took 2. I multiplied it by 8, then I divided by 8, and I ended up with 2 when it was all over. Those two operations just cancel each other out. Okay. I know it's going to be a problem. I set this all up on purpose for this to go wrong. What's next? 8 over 4. She's right. If you think she's wrong, it's because I haven't given you enough information. I got to tell you something else about the situation. 8 over 4, and then you can divide to get 2. Oh, yeah. Be mad. Frown. Anger. Good. I like it all. Here's the thing about fractions. Fractions, there's an implied bracket. And implied is a word you should not like very much. Like implied, how am I supposed to remember? Like, I know. That's why we're doing it together here and walking through it. When you have a fraction, I'm going to add something to this question. Anytime you have a fraction, it's like there's a big bracket around the numerator saying, do all of that first. Not very well explained. I must tell you. You go back and look at textbooks from grade 7, 8, 9, that's not explained very well. But anytime you see a fraction, you can put a bracket around the top and say, do all this first. That should be frustrating. Like, why don't they just say that? I know. That's why you're paying me to come down here and say that. A fraction, do everything in the numerator first, and then the divide. You caught it. Yeah, you knew not to do this. It looks like you should do the division. But it's like the fraction isn't division. It is. It is division. But it's like the fraction isn't division. It's like a fraction. Do the top, then do the bottom. Okay? Question.
Isn't 10 minus 2 18? Or,
10 minus
no,
2,
that's
8.
why.
Oh, that's why you got it right. Oh, I thought it was because you did the division. It wasn't. That's good.
I
All
thought
right.
it was 20
All right.
second.
Okay. Can we talk about negatives for just a second? Last year when I did this worksheet, then people had some trouble with negatives. So I just want to mention one thing on negatives. Okay? I know I said there's only 4 examples, but just to make sure the homework goes well for you, I just want to mention one thing about negatives. I would call this, it's not really in the lesson, but just me trying to help with the homework a little bit. Yeah? I want to talk about -5 plus 8. And I'm going to say something that's incorrect. Yes? -5 plus 8, the answer is negative because it's a negative and a positive. That's not true. Yes? Because I'm going to do one. What is the answer here? What's -5 plus 8? Oh, she's doing the right thing. Do you see her? She's pointing at the air. She's doing the old number line thing. She's going -5 plus 8. What did you get?
Negative 13.
-13. Okay. This is what I want to talk about. This is exactly what I want to talk about. Because we told you not very well. We said if there's a negative and a positive, it comes out to negative. It's not true here. This time a negative and a positive isn't negative. You're like, okay, you're changing the rules. This is what I hate about math. What is -5 plus 8? 3. Why is -5 plus 8 3? How do you know that? If you want to change seats, I think you should sit beside her because she knows some stuff about math and just knows it. It's like smashed into her brain and she's got it. -5 plus 8, why is it 3? Because the positive is bigger. And he said, he fell from, no, I didn't set a trap, I just said, isn't negative and positive? When is a negative and a positive? There's a rule like that. When is negative and a positive negative? It's a different operation. Oh yeah, no, you're right. If the negative's bigger, yeah. But where that rule comes from, if it's stuck in your head, is it's when you're multiplying and dividing. Multiplying and dividing, one negative makes it negative. Boom, just makes the whole thing negative. But not when you're adding. And again, I don't know if that's very well explained either. Yeah, that's one of the little things that's just like, oh, one of those crazy little details. Okay, so this is incorrect. If negative, and you're like, this is where I get into trouble. I understood everything that's going on in grade 9, and then the negatives messed me up. I'm like, I know. That's why we're gonna get our calculators to help us in these situations, and then argue about them and talk to them and go, but you've got to trust me. When you say, I don't understand why that's like that, you call me over, I explain it, and you go, oh, I get that. So I'm going to finish this one off. Here's why -5 plus 8 is 3. Here's what's happening. -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And I'll give you a real world example to use. Let's say it's -5 degrees out. It's coming soon, eh? Was it ever cold there this morning? And it didn't get down to -5, but sometime soon it's going to be -5 degrees. And then during the day when we're at school, it goes up 8 degrees. What does it go up to? And that's what you were doing. You were in your head, you were like going like this, right? Yeah. It goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees and ends up at 3 degrees. The thermometer is a good one. That's the best real world example I can give for you to think these things through. Question?
I learned just grade 7, and if it's a negative plus a negative, the negative gives even more.
yeah, then you go more negative. That's the big question. Am I going to be making it less negative, or am I going to be making it more negative?
If the second number is positive, you're moving to the right. If the second number is negative, you're moving to the left.
Exactly right, yes. Now, there it is.